Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen this as a reel, but obviously in a reel you don't really get the whole idea of how the page came together. So I'm playing in the small craft journal and I'm going to do a cutout page. So I am freehand drawing this circle in here, so I wasn't particularly worried about whether it was a proper circle or not. I did try to use that circle maker on the right hand side, but it was just a little bit too big. So I decided I'd just freestyle it. I'm just cutting the corners away, leaving a frame around the edge of the page, just so that I can leave the circle shape in the centre of my page. I apologise, my voice is still a little bit croaky after having COVID. So once I've done that, then I'm going to start on creating the centre cutout part as well. So just cutting out those corners, being really careful, obviously not to slice my fingers. And I think I am not cutting out all the way around. So you notice that at 4 points, that circle is still connected to the frame around the edge of my page. Okay, so then, sorry, I'm just adding a border around the edge as well. That's so that when I cut out pieces in the centre, it'll still all stay connected together. And then I'm going to use this sunshine stencil from Dina Wakley as my pattern. So I'm adding some colours onto my background first to start off with. I'm using, excuse me, rainbow colours. Ruby, tangerine, lemon, lime, turquoise, orchid and blackberry, and I am doing those in a circle pattern as well, so that the circle shape is echoed in the way that the colours are on the background. And once I've done that and that's nice and dry, then I am going in and just adding some black onto the back of my page. I'm doing that before I cut it out because it's just much easier to paint when it's still all intact. Obviously when it's got all the cut out pieces, the paint can bleed through and then it'll affect the colours on the front. So this is the most sensible way to get that colour onto the back, and I'm going to do the whole page. Because obviously once this is cut out, there's going to be no space for anything on the back of it, and this way it just helps it feel more complete in my mind anyway. So that gets a good dry once that's finished. And now I'm going to use the black gesso again and get a little bit on my blending tool. I've positioned the stencil where I want it to be, and then I'm just going to stencil through. So the reason I'm using black is that's then going to be a guide for me of where I'm going to cut out. So I'm actually going to be cutting out the black parts of the stenciling and leaving the colour behind. And I am just freehand painting in that black border around the edge of my circle before I go any further. So now I'm going to start cutting out the pieces from my design. So you can see I'm cutting up to the border and then stopping. I've also added a little bit of masking tape around the edge of my blade. This just helps it be a little bit safer, less likely to accidentally cut myself. So I'm not taking these cutouts all the way to the edge of the circle. I'm taking them to the border edge around the edge of the circle. That's a lot of edges in that sentence, but I hope you can see what I'm doing here, and that by leaving that border around the edge, it helps it all stay connected and gives the page a little bit more structure. So I do believe that doing cutout pages is something that people can do, anybody can do. I think you can. It's just about taking your time. This is sped up. I do not cut out this fast. I find it quite a meditative thing to do. So just put on some music, put on something that you like to listen to, and just take your time. And this scalpel knife is definitely the one that I find the easiest to use for these kind of pages, particularly in this craft journal, because the paper is quite thick. But yeah, it's definitely something you can do, and using a stencil as a guide for a cutout page is a great way to start. And if you're not sure and you don't like these small openings on this one, then find a stencil that's got larger patterns on it and have a go. You will surprise yourselves, definitely. So I'm just cutting out all the black bits, as you can see, working my way all the way round, and you can see this is leaving a really pretty kind of lace effect with those rainbow colours on there too. So now I'm just going to add a piece of collage paper behind. I wasn't really going to be doing anything on the page behind when I created this page, but I wanted it to have a little bit of interest behind to start off with. And it may be that in the future I will come back and do some journaling on this page. I'm not sure yet. So I was just adding the collage paper with this writing on. This is one of Dina's, on my background as a whole sheet, so that there was something going on behind my cutout page to start off with. Yeah, and I'm using matte medium to stick this in place. So now I'm going in with a text stamp and adding a little bit of text stamping onto my page too. This is one of Natalie May's scrapbooking stamps, but I've also just released one myself called Shoot for the Stars, which has got lots of lovely text on, which is great for background details. Then I decided I was going to use some transparency figures, so I'm just selecting a few, and I think I end up using just one of them on this page. But then I felt that I needed to add some white onto my cutout page for a little bit of contrast. So here I am using my dotty stamp with some embossing ink, and just going in with a white embossing powder and just adding some white embossed dots. So this brings a bit of texture. It just brings a little bit of lightness to the page. You can see immediately that lifts it. And I added those dots all the way round my border, as you can see here. Okay, so once I'd done that bit, I think the next thing, I'm just cleaning my stamp there. Yes, that's very important after you've used that embossing ink or any acrylic paint on your stamps. You must give them a good clean. Then I felt the figure got a bit lost, so I'm adding quite a thick layer of white acrylic paint on the back. It will show through where there are bits of text, and then I'm going to use the paint as a glue and stick that straight in place. I did also pop a couple of staples through that as well, just to keep it. And then I've used a frame from the Dina Transparencies too, and stuck a typed ledger paper on there as well for my quotes, just kind of working out where it needs to go. Yeah, maybe there. No, down here. Yeah. Just kind of doing that problem solving thing, like where does this feel like it works best? And that will be different for everybody. For you'll all have probably been thinking, oh no, there. No, 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 don't put it there. And here we are. This is the finished page. So lots and lots of fun. Just sort of spending a bit of time meditatively, great word, cutting out the pieces of this stencil. So stencils make a great start for a cutout page. Thanks for watching. I hope you found some inspiration from this video, and I really hope to see you again soon.